Hey, I'm Todd Burrier from toddburrier.com, and today we're going to talk about the engine that magnifies your opportunity to lead. And leadership is where the money is in business, in anything, and particularly in network marketing. Long term, if you want to make it long term, you can choose not to lead and sponsor lots of people, but that will go away if you're not focused on really helping people develop, which is what leaders do, right? So, I've been teaching and studying and doing leadership for close to 3 decades. I've taught major corporations and, many thousands of networkers around the world. And it's part of my passion. I love to teach leadership. So I'm going to give you a nugget here that's really, really important and one never to forget. So, if you think about leadership, true leadership is about want to, right? Not have to, right? True leaders, people want to follow them. And in network marketing, they have to want to follow you because you have nothing else. There's no consequence. You might impose a consequence and kick them out of a group or do something like that, but that would, or maybe, cut off their communication, but that would be cutting off your own nose to spite your face. Why would you do that with someone who's trying to build a business that you also participate in? That wouldn't make any sense, but I see people do it because they're immature about what it really takes to lead people. And so it's all about want to. True leadership is about want to. And want to develops really out of this little engine. So, true leadership comes from your credibility, right? It starts with your credibility. Now, it's not built on your credibility because there are lots of credible people who are not leading, right? They're just credible. And so to purposefully apply your credibility is how you lead, and that's called influence. But there's one thing that sits at the bottom of this. So let me give you a little breakdown here if you haven't seen this before. So over here you have your level of competency, and down here you have your character, all right? So these two things are what lead to your level of credibility, okay? So this is important to understand. These two things together, you can't have one without the other, right? If you're highly competent but you're dishonest, you have zero credibility. If you've got great character, as nice as you can get, and would give someone the shirt off your back, and you're just as honest as the day is long, but you have no skills, you have zero credibility in the work. You have got to have both in order to grow your level of credibility. This is a fact. This is not just made up because it looks good on a board. So, what drives credibility is trust. Trust is at the core of driving your credibility, because it is the level of trust in these areas that dictate how credible you are in someone's eyes. And then from credibility, that leads to influence, because again, credibility is the purposeful application of influence. So what's important to understand about trust? Because trust is the guy, that's the gal, the thing, whatever you want to call it, that's the one that you got to protect. Because if you think about it, trust grows slowly, right? It's not something that we gain quickly. And so it takes a while to build trust with someone, and it grows in layers, right? You trust someone to do a certain thing, but not this thing. And then you trust them with this thing, but not that thing, right? That's the nature of it. It ties into responsibility too, right? You trust someone with a level of responsibility, but not a higher one, based on the credibility they have with you, on their competency and character. That's how it actually works, okay? So it takes a while to grow deep trust. And in leadership, it's a trust. It's totally a trust. And so you have to understand that it is. And it's all around the relationship piece. So the challenge is that trust can be lost instantly, right? One false move, you can blow trust. And so if you think about a competency mistake, people will forgive a competency mistake because everybody makes those, right? That's a pretty normal thing. And you can rebuild trust in a competency area, right? If you demonstrate that, let's say you were trusted to speak to a group and you really did bad, right? So like, okay, still got a lot to learn here. You'll be given another chance to do that, right? Especially as you keep working and demonstrating your ability to do. But a character trust, you break a character trust, That's pretty hard to forgive. People don't really forgive character trust. And I mean, this is a topic I could spend an enormous amount of time on. I'm shortcutting it here for you, but people don't forgive character trust very easily. And then there's a lot of gray space where competency trust can be seen as character issues. For example, listening is a competency. It's a skill that you can develop. It's a big skill for leadership. But if you don't listen to someone and they can tell that you're not listening, they take it as a character issue. They don't assess you and go, oh, you're just not a very competent listener. You haven't developed the skill. No, they're like, oh, this person doesn't like me, or they're ignoring me, or they think they're better than me, or whatever goes on in their head. And suddenly it's a character issue. Okay? So that's important. So the other thing about competency and character is if you ever make a mistake, a competency mistake, you must admit it. You must admit it, because if you don't admit it and you make an excuse or you blame someone else, then it's a character issue. And as soon as it falls into the character issue, you're fried. That's a person that will leave your organization or won't trust you or won't work with you anymore. So I once heard this said, and it was so well said, but you cannot talk your way out of something you behaved your way into, right? I mean, because that's just the truth, right? So here's the issue. The issue is you have three sets of things going on in every interaction that you have, especially from a leadership perspective. You have your behavior, right? You have your intention, and you have the perception of the other person, all right? Now, it's pretty classic. If you think about how you operate, we tend to judge people on their behaviors because we don't know what they intend, right? So we don't judge them on their intentions. But ourselves, we judge ourselves based on our intention, not on our behavior. Pretty ironic, isn't it? I mean, that's completely dichotomous. It goes against how it really works out there, right? But the truth is, you got this perception guy sitting here. So as long as you operate with integrity, authenticity, honesty, and caring with your people, and you example and demonstrate the work you should be doing, people will love you. And here's why. Because over time, these three circles will move to where you suddenly are in the sweet spot with people. And the sweet spot it's the golden spot. Because there's going to be times when you're working with a group of people, and the longer you're in the business, the bigger your organization is going to get, the more opportunity there's going to be for miscommunication or disconnect. That's just normal, right? And so what happens when you have deep trust, when you've developed this up to here because you've treated people well? This is why treating people well is so important. And when you treat people well, you're in the sweet spot, if there is an issue that occurs, instead of them believing you had a character issue or that you wronged them in some way, they're going to question themselves. They'll go, I must not have seen that right. I must have misinterpreted that. And then they will come to you and say, here's what I think I saw, but that I can't get that could have actually happened because that's not who you are. Imagine being in that situation where you're never accused of something. You're just asked a question about it because someone wants you to clear it up. That is powerful. That's a powerful little nugget that I just gave you. That comes from this. Right? It comes from being in the sweet spot, but you only get in the sweet spot by caring about building the trust, by caring about people, by putting other people first and doing the right things. Right? That's how you get there. So I hope that this was helpful. If you want more on leadership, my book, Leading with Heart, I talk a lot about trust. I talk a lot about a lot of stuff in there that will really help you lead an organization. You can head over you can look it up on Amazon, or you can go to toddburrier.com and go under products and just, click it, and it'll take you to Leading with Heart is the book. It's actually on the front side of the blog as well. And then you can check that out. It will help you tremendously. And anybody who's aspiring to be a leader in your group, it will help them. So if you haven't gotten my 27 scripts that really help you consistently sponsor, when you're at toddburrier.com, make sure you put in your email and click to get the download. And then you can download the MP3 for free. And then you have that to listen to over and over. That also will be helpful for you and your group. So hope you appreciated this message, and I wish you a great rest of your day.